Hello. I'm trying to make sure I can see my screen because my phone's up in the corner. My phone is up in the corner and I can't see the screen. So I've got my iron going. Welcome in, everybody. Supposed to do a show tonight, but I changed it to today. I've got a little over an hour. That should be more than enough time. We shall see. Um, so I'm making a trick or treat coat, and oof, I've made plenty so far. This was the final one that I did. No, that wasn't the final one I did. Ugh, I made a few. I've done these many times, but I tried to figure out the easiest way, the most straightforward way to be able to make these um, in a decent amount of time without going crazy into like 2 hours to make a tote like it would normally make me. Um, so I have it figured out. My key was that I wanted these to be boxed out, but I also wanted them to be able to stand up. So I typically use batting, but I don't buy fusible batting. So that was like a whole bunch of extra steps. And I didn't want to have to I didn't want anyone to stress out. It does stand up. Oh my goodness. It's because I had it all folded up off to the side, but they do stand up okay. They're sturdy though. Um, it's just gonna pucker because I had it folded. But anyways, this is my trick or treat tote. At the back. And then we have these are 18-inch straps. And I have it boxed out. So you didn't have to cut anything. You didn't have to worry about binding or anything. It's just a super quick. You pull these corners out. That's how it's done on the bottom. It's just folded up and then stitched over here on the sides. And that enables it to be boxed out if you put your hand in and just kind of shift it over. There we go, like that. Just pop them out. But they fold up fairly easily. I've got some kits that I might run after, but then see they fold nice and flat pretty easily. So what we need for this project, toss that one out of the way. First I'm gonna crush that. I've got my fabrics already cut. You need a front panel and a back panel. Those are going to be 14 inches by 17 inches. You can use batting, which is what I typically use because I like the quilty feel. But for this and for the kits that I made up, I'm using SF101, which is a woven fusible stabilizer because I wanted this to be super easy to follow. And pretty much if you had this stuff prepped ahead of time, you could watch the tutorial. I have this multicasting over onto YouTube as well, so it can be rewatched. But you'd be able to keep up as you go. So you need 2 pieces of batting or stabilizer that are 13.5 by 13.5. You need 1 lining fabric. I'm using this one for the lining. It's folded in half. And the lining is going to be 14 inches by 33 inches. And then you need 2 pieces of webbing for the straps. I believe this is 1.5 inch. Yes. You can use smaller webbing. You can use bigger webbing. I have 1.5 on hand. So that's what I'm using. And then after I made these, I realized I had this reflective piping. And on this one, when I sew it, I'm gonna sew this into the sides of the bags, just so there's a little bit of something reflective on it. It's not something I put in the kits. I literally just thought of this like 10 minutes ago. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. So that's an extra step that is not included in the kit. I do have enough of this that I can include it in the first few kits that get sold if anybody is interested in those afterwards. But it won't cost anything extra. Just the first few. I think I can do like 5 or 6. These are just 10-inch pieces of piping. Yeah, so the first 6 kits, I believe I'll be able to include pieces of this. which you can add into the side seams. But this is like pretty much just one big flat panel that we're going to work on. So first what we're going to do is we are going to start with our, well, first I should press these. I meant to do that before, but here we are killing it. Yes, I'm going to do this right on my countertop. No, it's not going to hurt my counter. Just giving it a quick press. It doesn't have to be perfect. These are going to be able to be washed. Just throw them right into the washing machine. But I would recommend hanging them up to dry or laying them flat to dry. Again, you can put them in the dryer if you want to. They shape up better when you lay them out flat. So that's typically what I would do. And I need to press this real quick too, just because I want to get rid of that hard fold right there. Welcome in, everybody. Flip it over. Got all my stuff in the way over here. So the kits that I have made up are all, everything is cut to size. The fabrics will need pressing. I thought about pressing them as I was assembling the kits, and then I was like, they're going to be folded up. You're going to have to press it anyways when you open up the kit to go make it. So I didn't even bother. They're not bad, just from having being folded, really. Okay, so I've got all these pressed. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of each panel, the front and the back panel, and we're going to fuse our stabilizer to it. I will say, if you're going to cut these pieces at home, make sure if you have a directional print, you've got the 17 inches going this way and the 14 inches going this way. So all we're going to do with this is we're going to take one of our pieces of our stabilizer. And this is a square piece, so it doesn't matter what direction you put it on, it's fine. And we're going to leave ourselves about 1/4 of an inch here, here, and here. I would typically just have it go all the way out to the edge, but I have a really rugged sewing machine. I wanted to try and make this easier on some standard home machines, because I know a lot of machines can't handle all the extra bulk, especially if this went all the way down to the bottom, which is what I typically do. I have batting, it covers the whole thing. And then after everything's folded up and you go, let me show you this one. This one is how I would typically make it. And the batting had gone all the way down to the bottom. So by the time you are sewing this, it's super, super thick, very thick. And it's pretty sturdy. So I didn't want to destroy anyone's machine by assuming everyone has some heavy duty type machine. So all we're going to do is, if you're using fusible stabilizer, you want to make sure the glue side is down facing the fabric. And again, like I said, leave yourself 1/4 of an inch around the top 3 sides. And we're just going to press this into place. If I get squirreled, put a bunch of question marks in there to say, hey, get the hell back on track. I get squirreled easy. Very easily. And this doesn't have to be perfect. I'd say the most important part of this, when you're fusing it, like a lot of times I'll fuse something and there'll be little tiny bubbles in it where I didn't get every single spot. But as long as you're getting the edges really well, that's the most important thing when you're fusing this. Gotta hold my cord up. Yeah, so by leaving ourselves that 1/4 of an inch all the way around, we're alleviating a little extra bulk from the seams, which again, it's not a big deal when it's the top 3, but when you get down to the bottom part where we're going to fold it up to make it boxed out, that's when it gets pretty thick. So we don't want to do that. All right, that was the front panel. Now I'm going to get the back panel and I'm going to do the same thing. This print is non-directional, so it doesn't really matter what direction it goes. It's a tossed print. So again, we're going to make sure our glue side is down facing the fabric, and we're going to give ourselves about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. That's good enough. I like things where a project does not have to be exact or precise. Just pretty darn close is good enough. Because again, if you guys have watched any of my tutorials before, you know I just kind of make stuff up as I go, and then I once I get it figured out, if there's enough interest in it, then I'll just be like, okay, well, I'll quickly write down my measurements and do a little tutorial so people can go back through and watch it and do stuff on their own. I used to buy patterns, but I found so many things in those patterns. It's like, why would I do that? That's like 5 extra steps when I could just do it this way. I ended up changing too many things, and I get frustrated reading patterns that I was like, why? I just didn't understand why they did things the way they did. Um, I learned, or I realized more so, when my sister would come to me for help about a pattern that she was working on. I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, you could do it this way and save yourself like an extra hour of work. You save yourself all this extra wasted fabric. If you do it their way, you're going to waste all kinds of extra fabric. So just do it my way. And she was like, okay. So I don't like waste. I like to reuse everything or use every bit of everything if I can. All right, so now we've got these fused in place. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna place our straps on these and just tack them into place real quick. Um, I have it marked out on my table, but I need my little ruler. I write on my table if it's something I do frequently enough. I'll use a Sharpie and just like write my little measurement marks right on my table. So the panel is 14 inches wide, yeah. So we are going to put this down here. There we go. And I am going to put these down. The center of this would be 7 inches, so that would be here. And I'm just going to go 1.5 inches out from center and lay my straps down. And then I'm going to clip them in place. You can pin them too, but I always stab myself when I'm using the devil sticks. All right, so I'm going to put a clip there and then 1.5 inches out here. You want the center of the strap to be at the 1.5 inch measurement. So we've got about a 3-inch gap here. All right. And then I'm also going to kind of flatten this out. And I'm going to put a pin in here to help hold this flat while I'm working on the bag. So it keeps everything out of the way, but also in place. So while we're at it, we're going to mark this one as well. Looking for Lori Holt cookbook line fat quarter bundle. Do you have it? I don't. Oh shoot, I was watching someone last night who had tons of Lori Holt, or yesterday afternoon, but I don't remember who it was now. I'm awful at that. Okay, so again, we're going to find the center of the panel, which is here. 7 inches would be the center. That is 14, yeah. All right, and then we're going to go 1.5 inches out. Hey, Tara, hey. Yeah, I will, Elizabeth, send me a message and I'll see what I can find. You know how well I hunt. It's always fun. um, right there. All right, so I've got my clips in. And again, I'm going to just flatten this down and put a quick pin in it. I know, get the camouflage on. It's time to go hunting. I love that rush when you've been looking for something for somebody for like 3 or 4 years and you just stumble onto it and you totally make their day when they get it. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this over to my sewing machine and I'm just going to sew a little ways out and I'm just going to sew right across. Um, I'm probably going to go about 3/8 down. You can do a quarter of an inch. Um, I go 3/8 down because it just gives me that little bit of extra when I go to top stitch it. I can stitch it once, I can stitch it twice just to make sure that those straps are secure. So the top, like I said, I'm gonna do 3/8 on the top. Let's see if I can bring you guys over here without making everyone dizzy. You're totally gonna get dizzy. Ugh. Try and do this where I've got like a little, it's on an arm, like an arm that you can bend, but I got to be able to do this without bonking into you guys. All right, close enough. My machine is just set at whatever stitch it's on. Standard stitch length would be about 2.5, I believe, right to the edge there. All right, it's going to do a little hiccup thing because I just turned my machine on and I haven't done anything yet. And there's that little burp. If you guys have watched me before, you know I have this love-hate relationship with my gas pedal. Um because a friend of mine showed me how to program it so that if I step on the back portion of the pedal, it cuts the thread for me. And I thought that was the neatest thing until I started using it when he wasn't around and I accidentally step on the back of the pedal and cut my thread. And the only time I ever do it is when I'm live or when I'm trying to do a long stretch with no loose threads or thread ends. So, like if I'm doing straps for a bag or if I'm making key fobs and I accidentally cut it in the middle of that strap and I pick it all out because I don't like those loose threads hanging out. So I pick it out and resew it. And there is a way to program it so that I'm just trimming that thread. There is a way to program it back so it doesn't do that, but I don't know. At this point, I kind of feel like it's one of those fun things. It does make me chuckle, as frustrating as it can be. It makes me chuckle, and it gives me something to talk about or complaining about. So again, I'm going 3/8 of an inch down, part of the process. That's right. And if it didn't happen at least once on a live show while I was doing some sewing, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't feel like authentic. The authentic Erica. Just showing you, yep, I screw up too. We all do it. We all do it. Nobody's perfect. All right. And get my little snips. All right. Now I'm going to sew. I've got that stitched. My lighting is horrible in here. So I've got that stitched 3/8 down on both panels. And now I'm going to bring both of these panels together like this. So I've got, this is the tops and then the bottoms. And I'm gonna sew the bottom here at a 1/2 inch. And yes, I should pin this or clip it or something, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm feeling feisty. Just gonna wing it like I usually do. Just gonna make sure it lines up okay for me. That is pretty good right there. All right, so I'm gonna sew this a 1/2 inch down because I like to fan out my seams and lay them flat. All right. I gotta support this side because it's pretty heavy. Make sure I'm still fairly lined up. I am. All right. I always back stitch a little bit at the end because anytime I'm going to open up a seam, I want to make sure it doesn't start pulling apart the last few stitches or the first few stitches, which it will. You guys know. If you sew, you know. So now I'm going to press this open. I'm going to open it up like this and bring it over to my iron real quick, and then press that seam down. And then I'm going to put my my lining, the center lining. I'm going to move you guys back over because I will be over here for a few minutes. So cover you up so you don't get motion sick. Hi, honey. Hubby's up, guys. Say hi, hubby. Everyone say hi, hubby. All right, so we're going to press this open. Oh, puckered up on me. Quick press. All right. Now, I'm going to take my lining, and this I am going to clip. And I'm going to lay this face down, and I'm going to clip all the way around the perimeter. All my excess junk out of the way. Always have excess junk. Tea time. Okay, so we'll line this up. And I'm just going to put some clips all the way around. Make sure it lines up pretty well. And it do. It do. If you guys have any questions, make sure to put a question mark so it shows a little bit better. I have to move that down. The only thing I don't like about using clips, especially on something that isn't super bulky or stiff, like when I use batting, it's definitely stiffer and it's easier to maneuver. The clips kind of weigh down, and I don't have like a support here. I could probably rig something up. That's typically what I would do. Is there a way to save this video and refer back to it? So you can go onto YouTube afterwards because I am multicasting this. So this will be available to watch on YouTube afterwards, Tracy. And it's at Maniac Maker, just like my name here, but there's no underscore. But when you type in Maniac Maker, you need to make sure you spell maniac with an extra I. It's MAINIACMAKER. I'm from the state of Maine, so that's my chosen nickname. Yes, but the good thing about doing it on YouTube as well is that you can pause it. You do all those things. Also here, I'm gonna show this again if anyone wants to write down the measurements for the pieces. You can take a screenshot. I'll do this again later. I did show it earlier, hoping that if you come on later, it'll be shown periodically throughout the show. I put the measurements in the notes before, but you can't copy and paste those things when they're in the notes for some reason. So it's like, oh, I'll just write it down and then you could take a screenshot and then you've got some kind of documentation on it. All right, so we're clipping. And then we'll put a few on each end as well. But these are a fun, pretty quick project, especially if you have the pieces all cut ahead of time. And you can just kind of do like a batch sew where you're doing all of this step and then all of the next step. So you don't have to worry about anything getting mixed up, which is typically what I do. So now we're going to stitch around the perimeter. We're just going to do a 1/4 inch stitch. No. So you can do 3/8 like I did on the ends because I'm still going to do 3/8 on the ends because I want that extra when I go to top stitch. I want to be able to go through the straps at least one more time. So I'm doing 1/4 of an inch on the sides and 3/8 on the top and bottom of the bag. Okay. If you don't want to have to worry about the different measurements, you can just do, when you tack your straps in place, you can do 1/4 of an inch down. And then when you do your perimeter stitch, you can do 1/4 of an inch as well. You don't have to worry about the extra measurements. I just like having that extra bit of strap that I can sew through. Um, Also, I don't think I mentioned it. The straps you want to take and like burn your ends if you can. This is like a cotton blend strap. So there is enough synthetic in there that you can melt the ends so that they don't fray out on you. So if you are using anything that's somewhat synthetic, burning the ends helps a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our perimeter stitch. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start down right about here because I'm going to leave an opening to flip this out. And I want to, my husband just got up, you guys. He's got his, yeah, anyways. So I'm going to start here. But when I start my stitch, I'm going to stitch down here and back stitch. And then I'm going to come out and stitch this way. So it kind of shapes it like this on the edging. And then when I finish and I come here, I'm going to back stitch, and then I'm going to do the same thing where I come out from the seam allowance and I stitch to the raw edge. And the reason I do that is because after you flip it out, I always had a hard time trying to make sure when I press that and go to top stitch that one spot where the opening is, it makes it easier for you to get accurate measurements, and it just wants to kind of lay flat for you, without having like this bacon, like cooked bacon kind of edge where it's all wavy and stuff. It just helps a lot. So again, I'm going to start here, but I'm going to move my phone over again. This would probably help if I had like multiple devices, but I'm not a rich person. I've never claimed to be. And I don't want to have to pay for all that extra stuff. So we're going to bring it over. I'm going to start a little ways down. I'm going to go to my 3/8, which just happens to be the edge of my feed dogs there. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to do 1/4 of an inch. Whatever. I'm doing 1/4 of an inch on the sides. I'm going to do 3/8 on the top. If you want to do 3/8 all the way around, you could do that too. It's fine. Back stitch. And now I'm going to turn it just to make sure I have that little boxed out area. All right, so now I'm back to where I had started. And I'm going to put this down. And now I'm just going to stitch around the perimeter. I'll try to like fold up a corner to help. I don't know if you can see. Just to help like hold up some of the weight because this does get heavy with all the clips on it. So do you guys all watch tutorials even like on things that you already know how to make? Because even if I know how to make something, maybe somebody else has like tips or tricks that I wasn't aware of. And I'm willing to try anything to see if it will make something easier or maybe it'll result in less waste. So I watch tutorials like on everything. Anything I'm gonna make, I'll watch tutorials on it, even though I already know how to do it. Just because you never know what you're gonna learn. You can always afford to learn something new, especially if it's not gonna cost you anything. Just do it. All right. I believe that's right around 3/8 there. That is pretty good. We're going with it. We're going back to our 1/4 inch. All right, I think that shifted a little bit, but that's okay. It's a good thing about these. It's just a trick or treat bag. If it's a little off, it's not like some high end designer bag that has to be precise with measurements or anything, you know? My hubby just got up and he's on the phone with one of his bosses. He's in the other room giggling. He's giggling. You guys, I dropped off my little boy yesterday at his summer program. And we get out of the car, and this little girl comes running up, yelling his name, and she grabbed his hand. And then they walked together up the steps, still holding hands. My little boy is 7. Um, and it was the cutest darn thing. I was like, I'm not going to take a picture. I'm not going to be one of those parents. And then it obviously, because I just needed a moment because it was a mommy moment and my little boy's growing up. And so I took a picture anyways. They were a little too far away, so it's not a clear picture, but they're like walking up the steps together. And I was like, oh my goodness, my little boy's growing up. And I know I've been through this 3 times, but 3 other times previously, I have 4 boys. Um, but my older boys are significantly older. And I think that's part of it was that it's been so long that you forget because you have those teenage and adolescent years where you're like, your kids turn into little a-holes and you forget how cute they were. It's kind of like the pain of labor. You forget about it. Other things take over that are more important, right? All right. So now we're coming to the end and I'm going to do the same thing. I want to leave enough room to get my hand in there. So I'm not going to give you a specific measurement. Um, this is not super bulky, so it's fairly easy to flip it out and we'll go a little bit further. But again, when I get to the end, I'm going to turn my work and I'm going to stitch out to the edge. Just do a couple stitches and back stitch that so that when you go to flip it out, there's going to be pressure on those seams. So you want to always back stitch on those. But see how it kind of comes out and then down, and then the same thing on this side. And when you go to flip it out, you can pretty much put your fingers in, tuck, and pull, and it should lay pretty close to where you need it. All right, we're going to flip this out. So I'm going to move you over again. Thank you guys for sticking with me and still hanging out. All right, so this is a quick enough, easy project. It's kind of fun. So I'm going to clip my corners. Make sure you don't cut into the stitching, but I want to make sure my corners are somewhat pointy. Last one. I'm working on some hand sewing at noon, visible mending. Oh my gosh, I have if you have a show, everybody go and check that out and then bookmark it. I actually have a carpenter that belonged to a friend of mine's grandmother, and there's holes all through it. And it's just like one layer. It's not like a quilt or anything, but it's something that belonged to her grandma. And she was like, she really, really loves it. And she's like, visible mending would be um, awesome too. I love that handmade kind of aspect to it. And, especially like the visible mending shows that it was loved so much it had to be mended. And you're bringing attention to that rather than trying to disguise it. So you get a better feeling for how much love that piece had. So that's something I've got to work on. Okay, so now I'm going to take these pins out so I don't stab myself. All right. We only had the two, so that's good. So now, where's my opening? Right there. So I'm going to poke out my corners. And then you could top stitch all the way around this. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to top stitch the top and the bottom, um, and just kind of press my seams out. But I'm using a knitting needle. I'm just poking my points out on my corners. If you have just like a standard home machine and you're worried about bulk, especially with all the layers that we're going to have, even though I've brought it down to like a workable amount, um, you can always use a hammer on the bulkier parts. Or I have my key fob pliers, they're glass breaking pliers. I'll take, when I get everything clipped in place, I'll put these on it and just like squeeze it down really flat. And that definitely helps your machine. Poke out my corners. Come on. These things go so much easier when you don't have an audience. All right, get in there. Welcome in, everybody. We are making trick or treat bags. And my opening is right here. So now I'm going to go around and I'm going to pull out all my seams, not pull them out, but I'm going to like pop out my seams and give them a quick press all the way around. All right, so this is where our opening was. And remember, we stitched this way and then kind of went out to our raw edge. And the reason we did that is so that we can put our fingers in and do like a quick rub like this. And then you can do the same thing on the other side. But there's not this big wavy seam that looks like cooked bacon. Just give it a quick press. And so I don't forget where that is. I'm going to put a couple of clips in just because it's a visual reminder of where my seam is. But did you see how straight that was as opposed to the wavy seam that you guys would get some other times? So that is a useful little trick. Always. All right. And the top and the bottom are much easier to press because you can tug on those handles a little bit. Popping out the seams. Is anybody else working on any cool projects lately? I stopped. I was on a pincushion obsession and I still am, but I was like, I need a break. I need to do something else. Need to do something else for a little bit. I was like, I went to the Christmas in July sale on fabric and I saw Halloween stuff and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make some of these now. So that's what I'm doing. If you were willing to make these where you had to kind of like birth the bag after and like did the standard boxing out method, it's super fun if you have Easter fabric as well. So you can make the bags reversible. You can have Easter on the inside, Halloween on the outside, and then you have something for them to gather their Easter eggs at Easter, but you also can flip it around the other way and you have a trick or treat bag. You're gonna have to have some kind of a lining fabric anyways, right? So give it a dual purpose. All right. I'm still just popping out my seams. Yeah, I don't see you could possibly do it with these ones. I'm not quite sure how these would look if they were turned wrong side out. But I mean, I use cool fabrics for the linings too, so that could possibly be something. Now I want to see how this looks wrong side out. You definitely could. You definitely could. And they're still boxed out. So that's another option if you guys have Easter fabric kicking around. There you go. You can do it that way as well. You just have the seams on the inside, but yeah. If you have Easter fabric and Halloween fabric, dual purpose, guys. I don't have a lot of Easter fabric on hand right now, so. Flatten. I actually, when I went to get these Halloween fabrics, I was talking to the lady that was cutting them, and I was mentioning that that's typically what I do, and she's like, "That's such a cool idea." It's like it saves half the work if you're gonna make them anyways. You're gonna make something for Easter. You're gonna make something for Halloween. Dual purpose. What you doing today, honey?
Saco from 5 o'clock dispatch, then back, and Manchester Dover.
Keep an eye on the time. I think it's still way more than early enough. I have to leave my house in about 45 minutes to go get my little boy. Unless hubby's home. What time, hun?
I have to leave here by 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the truck because they have
Cocoa ready?
no two
Almost
plastic
guys.
barrels and metal when it work.
Nice. All right, we're coming up on the last corner, guys. Last corner right there. Done. Okay. So now I am going to put in a quick top stitch here, and I'm going to top stitch this side and this side just to kind of help make sure that there's like a little extra reinforcement on the straps, but also if you make sure your strap is coming out straight and you put in a top stitch, it's going to help maintain that being square and not end up puckered and tucked in all wonky. So I'm going to stitch this part and I'm going to stitch this part, and then I'm going to do my little opening here. When you go to fold this and sew the sides together, you're going to have the option. You can either do 1/4 of an inch in, or I do 1/8 of an inch, just because there's less bulk in the corner. The way it gets pleated, there's less bulk in that point if you go out 1/8 of an inch, but it's optional. You can do it however you guys want. I do 1/8 of an inch. So I'm gonna bring this over and stitch it. Get my iron out of the way. I'm not gonna bring you over because I'm gonna be back here in just a second. Showing you how to fold it and top stitch it. I need this new. Okay. Okay. Top stitching done. Watch out for stilettos. They will stab your feet if you drop them. Ask me how I know. Right, long thread right there. Just trimming up my long threads. Okay, so now is the fun part. Oh shoot, I want to stitch across here too, where the seam is. Um, if you were to have the front and the back be the same thing, like if it was a non-directional print, you could do like one big piece and have the front and the back of the bag be the exact same thing, as long as it's non-directional. And the piece size of that piece would be the same as the lining, so it'd be 14 by 33. Um, because I have this seam and the way it's going to be folded, we're going to fold it like this and then we're going to fold it up. It tends to pucker right here, and in between. So what I want to do is just take right down that seam. I'm just going to do one line of stitching there. It's been a while since I've done these, so, well, other than like I did a couple yesterday when I was trying to figure out the easiest way, that the most efficient and easiest way to do these for you guys. And usually I'm just doing things by myself. So when I'm doing a tutorial, I have to like stop and think that you guys don't know what I'm thinking. Do I have canvas? I do have some canvases. I don't feel like I have excessive yardage on anything in particular. And I do have a few that are in my bin, but depending what they are and depending how hard to find they are, some of those pieces are a little bit pricier than what you would see at retail. Also, if you guys aren't familiar with me, I am not a retail seller. I don't have wholesale accounts with any manufacturers or anything, fabric manufacturers. This is all bought from me, just like anybody else would go shopping. So my prices sometimes reflect that, especially if it's something that's harder to find that I paid premium dollar for. I'm gonna give this a quick press after I get it. I'm just like lined up the top and the corners, and I'm gonna give this seam here a quick press. Now this is the part where it gets bulky, because we have here, we have those layers of the stabilizer, and then we have 4 layers of fabric here. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the 2 layers of the SF101. But this is gonna be folded up, so that's gonna double. So if you're worried about destroying your machine, give those bulkiest parts, especially where that crease is there, give them a squeeze. If you have a little hammer, you can take your hammer and just like tap them down a few times. And I'm also going to do the top corners just so you guys have like the visual reminder. I don't really need to do this with my machine, but I'm doing it so you guys see it. You're like, oh yeah, I want to try that. See if it makes a difference. So you can measure up from the bottom and fold it over, but all I do is feel for where that stabilizer end. You can feel the lip, and then just fold it up. I know, super precise, you guys. The only thing I'm gonna do in the regards to like actual measurements is I'm just gonna make sure it's even. So press it down so you get a fairly accurate. And that is about 2 3/4. And then this side should be the same. And it is right on. So it's about 2 3/4 inch on each side. Sometimes if it had shifted down, or if it wasn't like as far up, it also depends if you did 1/4 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch at the top. Just make sure when you feel for it, just make sure it's even. Measure both sides to make sure it's even. There is no set measurement. Again, this is just how I do it. And again, give those creases a little squeeze, hammer them down. It just makes the transition for your feed dogs, for your pressure foot. It makes the transition easier. I'm gonna put a clip in here just so it doesn't get all wonky on me. Put a clip here, and one here. And then I'm gonna put a few more clips here on the sides. Um, all you're gonna do is you're gonna stitch up. You can either do a quarter of an inch in or you can do 1/8 of an inch in. I'm gonna do 1/8 because I like the way it looks better. Um, and it's going to ensure that you get through all of those layers by doing 1/8 of an inch. But this is also where I'm going to try out this reflective piping. And I'm just going to go from the top corner and I'm going to sandwich it in here between the layers. I could probably use like double-sided tape or something, but that's an extra step and I'm lazy. I like that quick gratification, you guys. All right, so put a few clips in here. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Again, this piping is not in the kits, but if I auction off some of the kits and you're one of the first 6 to purchase one and you want this, I can throw in the pieces for you. And it won't be anything extra. It'll just be something I added in because I thought of it this morning. Like 10 minutes. 10 minutes before I went live. I was like, oh, hey, I got that piping. See how that comes out. Want to make sure it sticks in there. And I am going to bring you guys over to my sewing machine. Get back in there. I guess it kind of makes the sides look a little bit more finished too, even though there's no raw edges or anything on the tote itself, the bag itself. Having the piping in makes it look a little bit fancy. We're looking bougie, guys. Looking bougie. All right, so I'm gonna bring this over to my machine and I'm gonna do the 1/8 inch. But again, you guys can do 1/4 inch if you want. I am doing 1/8. I'm gonna bring you back over. Cover you up so you don't get motion sickness. I'm trying to also make sure I don't hit the side buttons on my phone. All right. So we are back at it. I'm going to sew from the bottom up on this one. And I'm going to back stitch the heck out of this. And your machine will argue with you because it doesn't like, the presser foot doesn't like being like this. It wants to be flat. So I just have like a little acrylic template, acrylic ruler that I'm going to put back there to help keep it level. There, once the foot levels out a little bit better on its own, it's not a big deal. So if you have a stiletto to help you walk the fabric a little bit easier, you're welcome to use that. All right, and then this is where it transitions, where that fold is on the bottom. So I'm gonna back stitch over that a few times as well. And sew through that piping. Sometimes everything wants to shift over on you. I'm gonna use my stiletto. Mm. Trying to push the piping back in because it wants to pop out because I didn't use double-sided tape or anything. I just stuck it between the layers with a few clips on it and said, yeah, it's good enough. Think of the Babe movie. That'll do, Pig. That'll do. And then when I get to the end, I'm also going to back stitch the end. And whenever I back stitch, I like to, especially for something like this, I make sure I go over the end just so it like tacks it a little bit better. What machine do I have? It is quiet. This is a Bernina Quilters edition. It's a Bernina 770 QE. The QE stands for Quilters edition. I got this because it is a workhorse, but also the throat space on the machine is giant. It's like 10 or 11 inches versus like, I think you get about 6 inches on a standard home machine. It's not bad at all. All right, now I'm gonna go over to the side. My piping wants to pull out. But I love this machine. Again, press your foot, wants to be level. All right. I do love my snow machine. Sometimes I'll have my stiletto right in front of me and I still forget that I want to keep my fingers. So stiletto is a good tool to have if you make use of it. It's a great tool. All right, now we're coming into that bulky section where the fold is. So again, I'm going to back stitch over that a few times. And then I'm going to back stitch over the bottom part as well. There we go. It's done, guys. Quick and simple. I'm going to trim up my threads real quick. And this from the other side. All right, that's it. I'll bring you back over so I can show you what it looks like all done. Ugh. All right, and I can probably turn off my iron so I don't burn my hand. I've been known to do that. Get that out of the way. Okay, so now it's all done. We get the top stitching done, both sides. I did add in that piping, so it's just kind of sticking out there. And now we can reach in to the corner and just flip that point at the very bottom, flip it over inside, and then you can box out the bottom of your bag like that without having to do binding because binding is my nemesis. It's not difficult to do. I just don't like doing it. It's like an extra step. How can I avoid that extra step? I don't like extra steps. All right. And here is our bag, you guys. I think my handles seem a little extra heavy today, but these do stand up. There we go. They do stand up. And is it cute? This fabric is super adorable. This is the Pretty Creepy collection by Corey Dantini. And then the back is from the same collection. You've got like the stripy little flowers. It's adorable. And then this is also from the same collection. I love the there's a clown in here and he's my absolute favorite. Where is he? Of course he's going to be way down there. Oh, there's one. He's my favorite. I think he's super cute. But that is it, you guys. And then you can take it like that and they fold flat. And as we found out earlier, you can reverse them. There. Reversible. Still boxed out on the bottom. Still boxed out. Pretty cool. That is the whole thing, you guys. Do you guys have any questions? I am happy to answer any questions. That makes these are the ones I did earlier. This is made exactly the same way. I just didn't have that reflective piping. And again, if you guys are doing this at home, if you have batting and you want to use batting inside, I personally like the way the batting is. I just didn't want the extra steps of having to, because I don't use fusible batting. Do a sew along. I guess I could do a sew along, but I have what I did for this one is I set it up so it multicasts over to YouTube, so that if you follow me on YouTube, you can go back through and rewatch this, and then you can pause if you need like an extra minute to finish a step, or like you can rewatch, and it makes it easier for everyone. Yeah. Yes, you can. If you're doing a live show on Whatnot, when you go to start at the bottom of the screen, that'll say, do you want to go live? There's another option that says multicast. And as long as you've connected your YouTube to it, um, connect your YouTube to it, and then you can, it'll show live while you're live. But other than that, you can always just go onto your YouTube and it should show up. Same name on YouTube. It is Maniac Maker on YouTube, but there's no underscore. But when you spell Maniac, it's Mainiac Maker, Maniac Maker. But again, on YouTube, I don't have the underscore. It's just at Maniac Maker. I spell it different because I live in Maine, the state of Maine. So I added the extra I in like you would spell the state of Maine. I am a maniac. So again, I think this is the third time I'm showing it. But for the batting or the stabilizer, I used SF101, which is a woven fusible stabilizer. You want two pieces that'll be 13.5 by 13.5. For the front and back panels, if you're doing like a directional print, or if you want something different on the front and the back of the bag, you need two pieces that are 14 by 17 inches. And then for the lining, the fabric that you're going to use on the inside, you need one piece that is 14 by 33. Another option you have is you can do one piece for the outside. If it's a non-directional print, you can have the front and back be the same. You can get away with one piece instead of having to sew together two panels, in which case you'll want that to be the same size as the lining. So 14 by 33 on that one as well. And then you need two straps. You can use like seatbelt webbing. You can use like rope. You can use cotton webbing. This is a blend. It can be 1 inch. It can be 2 inch. This is 1.5. You need 2 pieces of strap, whatever you're going to use for strap, 18 inches. That is it. Like I have so many different types of webbing. I was hoping to find, I guess I probably could have used this 1 inch webbing on this one because it's pink, which I mean, it'd be kind of cute. It's not the exact same shade of pink, but how often is that going to match up with based on using stuff that you already have at home instead of having to go out and buy something special, right? Um, I was going to say something else and I totally had a brain fart, guys. Squirreled. I done got squirreled. Um, Hold on. Let me rate this so you can take a screenshot of this if you do want to follow me on YouTube and you didn't get that. It's all right. That's my YouTube at Maniac Maker. Do 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 do. Is anybody in here interested in looking at some of the kits I have? I did make up some kits. All the pieces are cut to size. You're welcome. Oh, you're welcome, Mom. Mama Maniac is my mom. Wow, Granny, what's going on, Crystal? How you doing, girl? I'm gonna show you some of the kits. I tried to make some that were like girlish, some that were boyish. And again, the first 6 kits, if you guys actually want to flip, please. I didn't get the cuts. Sure. Absolutely. Just remember that the batting can also be like some other type of stabilizer. I didn't special order anything. I just used what I have at home. But the SF-101 was fusible, so it made it easier for the tutorial. If you're gonna sew along with it, you can use batting. If you're gonna use batting and you want to use fusible stabilize or fusible batting, then that's easier for you. I don't buy fusible. I'm not gonna pay 3 times the amount for something I can just stitch around the perimeter. That's just me. Especially because I'm probably gonna like do some sort of quilting anyway, so I don't see any point in that. Um, I'm cheap. Not cheap. I just don't like to spend extra money if I don't need to. Not a big deal. All right, I gotta show you some of these kits because they're super cute. Some of these are Rachel Hauer. I think most of them are different. I have a few on the other end of the box that the kits are the same, but the webbing color is different on them. So these are Rachel Hauer. This is one of her. It's Free Spirit. It's one of her Halloween collections, and then this is Maud Asbury, but the white stars on this one glow in the dark. So we have on the way all of these are set up. You'll have the lining, the back panel, and then the front panel. And then the color webbing for this one is that lime green. This one is also Rachel Hauer. I think this is a Robert Kaufman. So this is the lining, the back panel, and the front panel. But this is Rachel Hauer. It's from the same collection as that one. And then this one is a darker green webbing. And then I want to say this one is Fabric Editions. It's a Halloween collection and that has Moda Grunge for the lining. Because I only have the 2 prints from the collection. And then just to help pop the little orange, I used orange webbing for the straps on this one. Oh, I want to say this is like Brenda Walton. These are all from the same collection, and it's she's a designer for Free Spirit. But this is like cutesy kind of little girl. There's like little jack-o'-lanterns and bats and with the floral. But I thought that was a cute one. This one has a dark navy blue for the webbing. And then this one's pretty much the same, but the front panel is different. And this one has like a charcoal gray. This is another Maud Asbury. I want to say that's Timeless Treasures or Wilmington Prints. And then that's the That's not Asbury. This is actually from the same collection, the glow in the dark stars. This is also glow in the dark. Any of the white on here, so the white parts of the moon, the stars, the bones, that glows in the dark, and it's got that. It has like a slight orange tint to it. It's like a yellow orange for the webbing. The glow in the dark. This is an Alexander Henry. It just has like spooky Halloween words, and then I want to say it's fabric editions. I could be wrong on that one. And then that one has like a forest green. Then we get to the cuteness. We have the Corey Dantini. There are two of this kit, but this one has purple webbing. And then this one has that yellowish orange that kind of ties in with the lighter colored jack-o'-lanterns there. And I have two of this sugar skull. It's the same pretty creepy collection, but a different front panel and a different backing fabric. This one has that lime green. This is the same thing, but it has orange webbing. And then we have two of these. That's Joanne's, but it's that Atomic Kitty. And then we've got the Moda Grunge for the back. And then I want to say this is a Wilmington print. It's just kind of like this spooky charcoal and black scroll work for the lining. This one has black webbing. And that one had that green webbing. So those are the kits. Do you guys want me to run any of them? I'm auctioning off some kits. It'll be winner picks. Yeah, so many choices. I will separate these into could be whoever. And then there's some more feminine and some that are more boyish. These are somewhat girly. That could be either. I guess that one could be either. Girly, girly, girly. Boyish, boyish. Girlies down bottom. I guess these are kind of boyish or whatever. Yes, please. All right, it's going to be winner picks. And then also on the first 6 of them, I have that on the first 6 I have that reflective piping. So if you want that, just say piping or something like that, and I am happy to include that in the first. I can do it for 6 kits. So the first 6. All right, it's winner picks. It's going. Winner picks. I was wondering what I was going to use because I only have the 2 prints for this, and then I found that purple grunge fabric, and I was like, "Oh, that's too good. I've got to do it." Deborah. Hi, Deborah. I'm glad you caught me. It is going to be on YouTube, so you can watch it back. But you can always video call me, and we can work on it together. Anyways, you got my deets. Which kit do you want, girl? And do you want the reflective piping for it as well? Yes, some piping, and you want the cats. This one? And I will put a P on here. So I know you want piping. Yes. Okay. That is number 1. We'll run it again if anybody else wants to buy a kit. Like I said, some of these, like I have 2 of this one, 2 of this one, 2 of this one. The only difference is the color of the webbing. Nobody else wants a kit? Maybe put. Well, how about I do this? I'll just pull 4. We'll do 4 at a time. Makes it easier to see them. We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. And don't look at these. We'll just do these 4 for now. There you go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that you? Yeah, it's easier to do it that way. And if you pick one of these and you prefer the webbing from the other one, the other pack, then you're welcome to swap out for the one with the other webbing. Bunks 1. Which kit would you like? Would you like 1, 2, 3, or 4? And put a Y next to that if you want number 3. This one. And do you want the piping for it? And then this one has the yellow. Yes on the piping and yes on this. Now this one has the yellow and then the other one has purple. Do you want the yellow or the purple? Put a P on here so I remember. You want the yellow. Okay, you got it. You got it. All right. I'll put the other one in there. That one has the purple. Well, actually, if I turn it this way, you can see what color the piping is. Then we don't have to deal with it. There we go. We're going again. So this one's like a charcoal gray piping. And then you can see the other colors pretty clearly. Deborah got it. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Two. So this one, and you want the piping. You got it. All right, let's throw another one in here. Let's put something boyish in there. One with the eyeballs, because it's cool. And again, on this one, the stars glow in the dark. There we go. Thank you, Deborah. All right, all right. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 3. All right. Oh, you got both those ones. Let's see. Put this purple kit out because that's cute. And that one has the orange binding on it, or the webbing, I should say. Miss Bogey's here. How you doing? I didn't even see you come in. These are trick or treat bag kits. And the tutorial was multicast over onto YouTube, so it can be watched back. Deborah. After we're done with the kits, I'll show the measurements again. Just so if you are gonna, I'll probably end up doing another one of these tutorials at night, like for my usual time. Usually I'm on not Thursday nights at 9:30-ish. So what I will do is I'll do another one of these. I probably won't multicast that one because I've already done that. We're gonna run this again. Oh, and this one has the dark green, the hunter green or forest green. But I'll likely do another one. So if I hold this up so you can take a screenshot of the measurements if you want to kind of sew along, you're welcome to do that too. Miss Bogey with the win. We have number 1, 2, 3, or 4. That one's wicked cute. It's the same as this. It just has a different color webbing. You want 3 and you want the piping. And I think that is the last one I can do the piping on. All right, let's put this one in. This is the Rachel Hauer with the bats and then the moons. Look at the moon. That is why I'm obsessed with this collection. I love the moons on any of the Halloween ones that she does. Such a good collection. That is running again. I'm checking my piping. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can do 2 more with piping. I can do 2 more after measuring. So if you want piping, the next 2, we got piping for that as well. Miss Bogey. Yes, so you want number 2 and you want piping. So I'll have enough for 1 more bag. Awesome. Let's put the Atomic Kitty back in there. Well, not back in there. This is the other one. This one has black webbing on it. That is going. So that's the Moda Grunge. Yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking if there's anything else I need to say. Deborah. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 and yes. All right, that is definitely the last one. After measuring, that's all I've got. All right. We only have 2 more kits, so I'm just gonna put all 5 out now. Again, this is the same as this. It's just the webbing is a different color. This has the orange. And then on these 2 kits, you have that cute. It's got bats and cats and bones and skulls and stars, and then that cute bat pumpkin floral. This kit is the same, but the front panel is different. And this one is navy blue. This one is charcoal gray. All right, so we're all out of the piping, and all we have left are these 5. All right. I'm going to run one more time just in case. Does anybody want to bid on any of the trick or treat bags? I've got 4 of them over there. They're already done. I would run them under a kit, like, so I don't have to make another listing or whatever. If anyone just wants to buy one of the bags. But the difference is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the first one I made, how I would normally make it. But I tweaked the measurements on it. So this one's a little bit bigger than the other ones. Again, because I was trying to make it as efficient and easy as possible. So this one's a little bit bigger. And this one has batting all the way down to the bottom. This is one I made yesterday. It's made exactly the same way as this one. This is actually one of the kits. It's got that cute pumpkin floral, and there are bats on that, and then it has the green webbing. This is the one we made live. All we got to do is flip it out. This one does have the piping in the sides, and then it has that cute print in there. And then this one is also batting, but on this one I tried doing the batting similar to how I did the SF-101, the stabilizer, where it only came down 13.5 by 13.5. So there's no batting in the bottom, just on the sides, like the front and the back, all the way down to here. So as the bag stands up, and that's got the orange grunge, and then it's got that pretty ghosty looking scroll work inside. So we'll do this 1, 2, 3, 4, and just remember that this one and this one are batting, and then these ones are as we made on the live show today. If anybody would like one of those, and if not, that's fine. I'm going to put them in my bin. I hope you guys could follow along easily enough with the tutorial. I hope to see some of you guys watching over on YouTube. That would be awesome. Um, I don't have a ton of videos. Half the time I forget to multicast. um, but I'm going to try and do my other show next Thursday. I'll do this tutorial again. Um, I might just leave it as a regular show for Thursday and just pop on some night during the week, possibly the weekend, to do um another tutorial, but I'll try and do it at night so it's not like the daytime crowd. So in the meantime, I have to leave here in about 5 minutes to go pick my son up from his summer break camp. So I am going to have to sign off here. But let's see if we can go find somebody to raid, because who doesn't love raiding into somebody else? Who do we got? Who do we got? Who do we got? Let's go over and see Stacy 4G, because she watches my shows. So we're going to go watch her show. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you for your purchases. Thank you for just hanging out and watching and being a part of the chat. Um, Everything you guys do, whether you're buying or just hanging out, makes a difference to me. I love having you guys here. I love answering your questions, especially if I know how to answer your questions. That's fantastic. Um, but we're gonna go over and see Stacy, put some mushrooms in the chat, hang out with her for a bit, chat with her. She's a great lady, and she always has all kinds of awesome fabric too. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. Bye.